Not long past noon. He said he'd be here. Excuse me, sir. Is this the 4 Points Tavern?
It is. You looking for something, miss?
Someone. I was supposed to meet him here a half-turn past midday.
This someone you're looking for have a name?
His name is Trevian Bouldershot. He's a guide I was hoping to hire for an upcoming journey into the Empty Crescent. His name kept coming up when I made inquiries with the Wayfarers Club, and I finally managed to get a meeting with him.
Well, for starters, you can call me Trev.
You're Trevian Bouldershot?
Not what you expected after hearing the stories, eh?
No one mentioned you were, well...
Well-spoken, impeccably dressed, a picture of rugged good looks.
I just thought you'd be...
Sitting in the corner with the hood of my cloak pulled up, smoking a long stem pipe and watching the room.
I thought you'd be... taller.
Ah, well, you're not the first to say so. Of course, most people aren't so kind with their words. They just ask me what's a dwarf like me doing out in the big wide world. Shouldn't I be back in my home hearth swinging a hammer and forging pretties?
Do you know how to forge a pretty?
I know the theory of it. Was apprenticed to a goldsmith, as a matter of fact, but my hands never took to delicate work. And my legs never really took to plodding the same path day in and day out. So, take yourself a seat, have a drink, and tell me about why you plan on taking a journey into the God's own furnace.
I'd be happy to. As you know, things along the border between Maravan and the Biasaran Empire have been rather touchy of late. With the end of the hostilities late last year, though, no one quite seemed to know what to do. Last month, the Council of Four officially proclaimed that travelers from Maravan would be free to come and go throughout their lands. Merchants and envoys were the first to cross the border, and when no ills worse than sore feet befell them, others decided to make their own journeys.
I knew that much. But none of that tells me what business a city jade like you has in the Empty Crescent. Ain't nothing out there but dust devils, skinny buzzards, and sun hot enough to cook you right in your skin.
There's a holy man I need to speak to.
Huh. You didn't strike me as a religious sort.
I thought you said you didn't have a pipe.
I said no such thing. Tell the truth, I'd never met a ranger who didn't keep a pipe on him. World's a big place, and it's hard on a body to walk it. Puff or three of the right stuff can do wonders on your knees at the end of a day's travel.
Well, since you bring it up, I'm not particular about the affairs of gods, but I've been trying to get at the facts behind all the common myths about the people we share this world with. Our great warriors, brave adventurers, and learned sages are rarely what we've built them up to be in our minds.
Go a little slower. I'm not sure I follow.
Well, let's take you for an example. You are a ranger, are you not?
It's a name I've been called, though not one I'd call myself.
And you're a dwarf, yes?
That'd be rather pointless to deny.
But you wear no beard, just a mustache and a rather formidable set of sideburns.
I'm a lowlander. Big beard keeps you warm up in the mountains, but down here where I'm from, it's the mark of an outlander. And if you're working with fire and oil, the last thing you want is a chin bush constantly getting in your way.
You're also thinner than one might expect. Rangy, if you will.
I spend my days on the trails. Walking'll eat the fat right off you, and make you lean. If I spent my days swinging a smith's hammer, I'm sure I'd look like every other iron shaper out there.
And when you go out on your trail, do you bring a longbow with you? And a sword? Do you have a wolf at your heels? Do you keep a list of hated enemies you seek to destroy?
I don't have any real hate in my heart, since you ask. Though, to be honest, there are one or two types of foes I'm more comfortable facing. I'd also say I'm more of a crossbow man myself. And I might bring a hatchet with me, or a trail knife, but I'm a woodsman, not a soldier. I don't carry anything with me that serves only a single purpose. I think you've made your point. I don't have a wolf, but I do have a companion who comes with me on my travels. Giggles, come here, girl. There's a good girl. Giggles, hush. Hush. Sit. Good girl. Have a treat.
Is that an Entafar Smiler?
She sure is. I found her the last time I had occasion to trek the Arnell Dunes. She was just a pup, hurting all alone, but even then she had a bite to her. Wasn't until I made camp, patched her up, and started training her that I realized she wasn't one of the brindle desert dogs so many of the shepherds prize out there. By then, though, she'd grown a little fond of me, and I couldn't just leave her behind. Now, if you'll do me a kindness, Kerowynn, please hold out your hand.
Excuse me?
Call it a quirk of mine, Miss Brooks. But the one time I journeyed with someone that Giggles didn't trust, I almost wound up with a knife in my gut. Turned out I'd been leading him to a treasure trove, and while he was of no mind to share the spoils, Giggles tore him open. And that was how I ended up returning with the lost rubies of the Johnny Queen. So please, let Giggles give you a sniff. If she likes you, we can depart for the Empty Crescent upon the morrow. If she doesn't, well, I doubt she'll manage to get too many of your fingers, and I wish you great fortune in finding another wayfarer.
Is that a good thing?
Doesn't matter, really. I was more curious how brave you were going to be. Giggles isn't a perfect judge of character, but if someone's willing to put their hand that close to her jaw, then I know I don't have to babysit them while we're out on the trail.
I want to be mad at you, but that was more clever than I thought.
Another advantage of being a dwarf. Everyone expects you to be brusque and upfront, so you don't have to work it all that hard to be devious. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some preparations to make for tomorrow. Shall I come find you here, or have you taken room somewhere else?
I'm staying at the Green Slate. Before you go, though, was any of that story you told me true? About how you found that lost treasure?
A little bit here, a little bit there. It's a long walk to the Empty Crescent, and I'm sure I'll tell you the full tale of those genie stones before we get to where we're going. Come on, Giggles.
Well, that's one way to start a journey. If you're curious about how my trip into the Biasaran Empire goes, then stay tuned for the next episode of Mythconceptions. If you enjoyed today's installment, then like the video and consider following us here at Dungeon Keeper Radio. If you'd like to support our channel and all of us who make these videos, then consider becoming a Patreon patron. Or, if you just want to help keep the caffeine flowing, you could just buy us a coffee. Links for both are in the description below. Until next time.